Hello everybody, it's Ken Faulkner with another video knife from the collection from Cold Steel Knives. This is the Engage, and I was doing that Vision FG video a while back, and I know around that time when I got that knife, I picked this one up too because this also has kind of a fancy kind of lock. What's the name of the lock on this one? I can't remember the name of it. Here, I'll look it up. Hang on a second. That's what it is. It's called the Atlas lock. Yeah, there's so many different locks, different names. It's hard to keep track. But this one is called the Atlas lock, and it is very similar to the Super lock and the Shark lock in that it's got the lock in the middle of the spine of the handle, and you get your finger on it and you pull it back, and the knife drops, and it just bounces back and forth, back and forth. Very fidgety. I would say probably the placement of the lock is maybe not as easy to get. The Shark lock would be up here. Let's see, I got the Shark lock here, and I got the Vision FG here, and both of these have the lock kind of a little closer. So if you're holding the knife as you would normally hold it, your finger is kind of more. I gotta get in the camera. You're holding the knife like this. Your finger's a little closer to that location. Same thing with the Vision. Holding it here, your finger's a little closer here. So when you go to access the lock, you don't have to choke back quite so far. So with this one here, with it closed in the closed position, you're here. You kind of have to choke back a little bit more. Kind of get your hand with the butt of the handle into your palm. I mean, it works fine. It's just a little bit more adjustment, and it kind of has a small impact on the fidgetiness of the knife, I'd say, because you're kind of going back and forth to the thumb studs and the lock. Now, maybe that was done for a strength purposes or to kind of distinguish it from the other locks. But anyway, the Engage, it came out a while ago, and I was excited about it. And it took me a while because it wasn't the cheapest knife. Let's see, how much did I pay for this guy? This one I got for $139, but you can definitely find them on websites for much more than that. I think I got a pretty sweet deal on this one, which is kind of partly why I finally pulled the trigger on it. This is the 3.5 inch long one for the blade, and there's like a 3-inch one that's definitely a more cheaper knife cost wise, but I prefer a 3.5-inch blade. That's kind of my go-to. I'll go up to 4-inch, no problem, even longer. I'll go down to 3-inch, but it's going to be definitely more of a backup knife for me. One of the things that really surprised me about this knife, because I knew that it had that fidgety lock thing going on, and you see I'm not really having a lot of problem with that. I'm just nitpicking, but I was surprised at how heavy this thing is, how solid it is. I mean, it's cold steel, so I should have known, but let's get out the scale. We'll check it out. 3.5-inch knife, so what's our weight going to be? All right, we are up at 6.5 ounces. That's 3 ounces higher than that inch per ounce ratio, which, it concerns some people, and I don't have a problem with that. I understand the concept of it, but I've always liked the heavier knife. I guess it's because I'm a bigger guy, and maybe that's it. I don't know. Then we got a little bit of a finger choil up here that works pretty well. The handle is, I mean, Some people don't like something like this that kind of locks you into one position when you're holding the knife. Gotta drink some tea. My throat's dying today. We had a huge winds around here. That's why we were having all those fires in the LA area. And man, it's kicking up. I usually don't have that much problem with allergies, but man, I'm feeling like I'm beat down by this allergy thing. Anyhow, back to it. So my hand fits right in there. But if you have a bigger hand, you're going to have a problem with that. I mean, I can only judge by my hand and how it feels. Smaller hand, you might be moving back and forth a little bit. It's probably not as big of a problem. But if you have a wider hand, and there are, people out there, Donnie B all day, Satu Dave, they're probably going to have a problem with this feel. But for me, I'm locked in backward, forward. It definitely holds really well for me. So, that's just the way it is. It's not going to be for everybody. The weight's not going to be for everybody. Some people aren't going to like the fact that lock is back here. When I'm nitpicking, it doesn't mean I don't like it. I really do like it a lot. But if you're like me, you're going to like this knife. And, it is a lot heavier because fidgety knives tend to be lighter, in my opinion, or my experience, I guess. Not really opinion so much. Man, that's a good solid blade too. That clip point. Got that little spot there. Feels really good. No jimping to talk about. I think you can reverse the clip, it looks like, because it sits on top. It's a bit tall here, but for me, nah, it doesn't really bother me. You're gonna feel it if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. Kind of a short clip, but it works out pretty well. So I'm thinking this is kind of like fidget meets overbuilt. With that 6.5 inch or ounce weight, that's kind of like a heavy duty knife, and it feels heavy duty. When I first got it and opened it and closed it, going, this feels like my 8010. I used to have the regular 8010, and I ended up buying this one. It's a little higher end. It's got a hollow grind put on it and some scales. It is a much nicer one than the one I had before. I think I had the AUS 10 version. This one's the S35. But I do still have the original handles for this, and you can kind of see, that's what it would have looked like before I changed out the hand. Well, I didn't change out the handles were changed before I bought the knife, and that's the way it looked. And I had the older one, and it felt a lot like this knife as far as how solid it is and filling the hand and all that kind of thing. Just it feels like you can hit this thing with a hammer and have no effect on it. It's just liners. This scale actually has the liners from it because I guess the replacement liners scales did not need to have liners in it. So it definitely lightens it up. Well, we can weigh this guy. I don't recall what the 8010 weighed before all this stuff. Hollow grind's going to have an impact. 6.4. So this big monster, which is a little bit bigger than this one, actually weighs now a little bit less than the Engage. But I'm sure that when it had the old handles on there and before the hollow grind, that 8010 was a little bit heavier because it's a solid, heavy, overbuilt kind of knife. But this one feels overbuilt, and at the same time, it's fidgety. Whereas you got this back lock, and I've learned to fidget with the back lock. It's definitely a different kind of feel to it, because you have the blade drops because it's heavy. Even with the hollow grind, it's still heavy. So you got to get your finger in the way so it doesn't come here and cut you. And you got to get your thumb in here for that back lock. Whereas here you get in the index finger, which is way more fidgety, way easier to go in and out. So yeah, it's just an interesting knife because of the fact that it has that fidget ability and overbuilt. If you like both of those things, like I do, I like them both. I'm not used to having them both on one knife, but it's kind of cool. So the Engage, for me, 3.5 inch. like a smaller knife, 3-inch. It's probably even more fidgety and probably weighs less, although it's probably solid like this one and is probably over the ounce per inch ratio. So just be mindful of that. But yeah, great knife. At the price I got this one, $139. I think this is a great knife for the price. All right, guys, that's it for this one. I'll be back. I got another knife. Hopefully, it's coming in soon here, and I'll just keep buying them because I'm crazy like that, and I'll keep showing them to you because I love to do that. And some of you coming in here, you like it, see it, so we'll just keep doing it. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.